We can think of aging in a couple of ways. One is that we have a set of genes, like every animal does, where it seems as if that pretty much sets the limits, about 120 years. That seems to be about what it is for humans on this planet at the moment. And so that is what we've got. But the question is, why do we not all live out that long? One of the big reasons we die earlier is we die of the major diseases of aging, often comorbid. That means they often occur kind of as a group. And there are things like cardiovascular disease, cancers, diabetes, and so on. And you also have mental declines and degeneration as well. And they often go together. And so that's another reason that you die. And that's the part where we think the telomere maintenance, it looks like it's playing a role in that aspect of aging. So what are telomeres, and why should we even care about them? Telomeres are the protective ends at the tips of chromosomes. Every chromosome carries genetic information inside most of the cells of our body, and that genetic information is arrayed on very long DNA molecules that run from one end of a chromosome to the other. But the tips are prone to fray and wear down and undergo attrition with aging. And so they have to be protected by special structures that are made of both particular kinds of DNA, which is not a gene, but which serves as a kind of scaffold for a protective sheath of proteins. And so those sheaths have to have an underlying DNA scaffold of this special telomeric DNA, which is big enough. So when it wears down, the sheath suddenly, at some point, loses its ability to be protective. And that makes the cells unable to work properly. They won't function, they won't replicate. In fact, they sometimes die. They can become cancerous. What we understand is that, and this is a lot of research in people, is that when you have telomerase a little too active, and this can happen even just by small gene changes, it increases the risks for cancers. So we live on a knife edge. We don't want to push the telomerase up, because this is looking like, in very recent work, we don't want to push telomerase up because recent work is really arguing strongly that too much is pushing the likelihood of cancer way into too high a risk category. So there we are, sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. If we don't have enough maintenance, we do get, in fact, other kinds of cancers and susceptibility to these degenerative diseases of aging. Exercise and certain sort of things like stress reduction, good sleep patterns, a lot of very interesting and free things are influential in maintaining telomeres better. And the funny thing is that, we knew all along that those are good for health anyway, but we can now put this in a very quantifiable fashion by measuring the telomere lengths and seeing how the attrition is forestalled, at least in part. And sometimes you can see it being reversed, at least for a while. Well, I'd like to live to 100 years if that was both my health span and my lifespan. Living a long time, it could be fun in lots of ways, but there are also enormous challenges. So I'm not feeling that, I want to go on for huge amounts of time. Although, as I joked a little bit, living longer would be fun because it would let you do so many interesting kinds of things. But on the other hand, I feel I've had lots of chance to do interesting things.